The Bills have found a secret weapon. In fact, there are multiple of them that have emerged after week 2 of preseason action. Welcome in, everybody, to Bills Digest. I'm Ben Voelker. We're covering all things Buffalo Bills leading up to the 2026 season, including today's win over the Cleveland Browns in preseason. It was another dominant win for the Bills as they won 31-7. But I got to be honest, most eyes were probably not caring about the score. Most eyes were probably watching Cleveland and the entire crazy quarterback battle that was going on there. But that's not to say nothing interesting was happening on the Bills side too. I've got 5 players for you guys that really stood out to me from today's preseason action. But first, we got to talk about who didn't play. Obviously, week 2, the starters did not play. It was rainy fields, rainy conditions. You don't want to get these guys injured. So your guys like Josh Allen and James Cook and Dalton Kincaid, all of them were not playing today. So really, it was a chance to see what the backups could do. There were 2 guys, though, on this list that really stood out to me that didn't play. We talked about them the other day. Maxwell Hairston and Cole Bishop, they didn't play in last week's game against the Panthers due to injury. There was some speculation that they might play this week, but they were once again inactive, which is a little bit concerning. I would have liked to see him maybe get a few reps before the season starts, but it looks like Cole Bishop and Maxwell Hairston will not play in the preseason whatsoever. Not the worst thing in the world, but it would have been nice to see them out there today. But let's talk about who did play today. And on Thursday, we talked about that there was a little bit of concern about the Bills' receiver room. And that was mainly due to a lot of injuries. Not many receivers practiced at the joint practice on Thursday. And that led to a little bit of concern. But in Saturday's game against the Browns, one guy really stood out. Actually, 2 guys. 2 guys stood out. But the first guy I want to talk about was Trent Sherfield. Now, Trent Sherfield, he was on the team back in 2023, so this isn't his first stop in Buffalo. You might remember he made a touchdown catch in that final game against the Dolphins to win the division back in 2023. He's bounced around on a few teams since then. He's back with the Bills trying to make the 53-man roster. And I gotta say, Trent Sherfield, maybe he had this muscle back in 23, but he is looking big. There was a few plays I thought it was DK Metcalf out there. But Trent Sherfield had a phenomenal game for the amount of playing time that he got. He had 4 catches for 54 yards, including 3 pretty big chunk plays of 17 to 20 yards where he was just carving up the Cleveland defense. So if they can get that kind of production out of Trent Sherfield in the regular season, I wouldn't bet on it, but it is a nice guy to have in your back pocket. I do think that with his performance today, this does solidify his chance of making that 53-man roster as a fringe receiver special teams guy. But there's definitely room for Trent Sherfield to prove himself in this offense. The second guy that I want to touch on in the receiver room today that really stood out to people, he was actually the Bills' leading receiver on the day, was Demar Hamlin. You remember Jeremy Maclin back in the day? This is his cousin. He is an undrafted rookie out of Kentucky, and he went off today. Only 2 catches, but he, in those 2 catches, had over 100 yards and a touchdown. 108 yards you can see there. Very impressive stuff. I'm going to go back to this picture. It was the only picture of that I could find of him in a Bills uniform. And this is the play where he scored a 71-yard touchdown catch. It was the play of the game, in my opinion. And it was really impressive. Now, Demar Hamlin probably not going to make the 53-man roster. There just isn't enough space. But he is a solid practice squad guy that might stick around, could be a hidden gem, hidden on the practice squad. And you never know with this Bills receiver room. There's always all sorts of turnover. There's always guys coming in and out. Demar Hamlin has a case to make. And I would just say, keep an eye on this guy sometime down the season as injuries pile up. You might hear Jamori Maclin, and he's got some juice, as we saw today. Now, if you have stuck around this long, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Let us know that you want more Bills content just like this, and we will get it to you. We will be producing all sorts of Bills content leading up to the 2026 season and throughout the 2026 season. But this next guy that I'm going to talk about is none other than Tyler Bass. He is a controversial figure in the Buffalo fandom. I feel like at this point, probably most of that stems from his infamous miss against the Chiefs. But he has looked pretty solid this preseason. Now, Tyler Bass missed all of last season with a myriad of injuries, mostly hip and groin stuff, but he didn't see the field at all, and it was Matt Prater's kicking squad leading the way. And there was some discussion leading into this preseason if Tyler Bass still was that guy. Now, he did miss a kick against Carolina in week 1, but overall, Tyler Bass has been money this preseason. 4-5 on field goals, 6 out of 6 on extra points. And today, he nailed a 52-yard field goal in the rain. It was pretty impressive, and it let me know that, all right, Tyler Bass is our guy at kicker, at least for now. We'll see what happens during the regular season in those high leverage moments. But for now, we are rolling with Tyler Bass, and I am okay with that. Hopefully he produces. Hopefully if we get into the playoffs, when we get into the playoffs, it'll be a different story this time when we need him in the clutch, but that will just have to wait and see. The other guy that is a little bit controversial for Buffalo fans is Demar Hamlin. And look, I'm not going to say Demar Hamlin had the best game of his life today. There was a few plays where he got absolutely torched. There was Browns receivers nowhere near him, and it was most definitely his fault. But there was one play that really stood out to me. It was his interception. Now, it wasn't just Demar Hamlin that contributed to this interception. It was started by Joe Andreessen. It was a poorly thrown ball by Shedeur Sanders, but Demar Hamlin came away with the interception. It was impressive. Quick thinking, athletic, and look, I'm not saying that Demar Hamlin is going to be the guy at safety. There are other guys on this squad that I would have ahead of Demar Hamlin, but he is a nice depth piece. I do think that he has proved his place on the team, and I do think that the Demar Hamlin hate is gotten a little bit out of hand. I just got to say, look, was it a perfect game? No, it was definitely not a perfect game for Demar Hamlin, but he does have that big play capability as we saw today. And look, I would much rather have him as a safety than Geno Stone after this preseason. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. And finally, the last guy I want to touch on is a guy that I hope gets 0 meaningful reps during the regular season. I'm talking about the QB Allen, of course, not Josh Allen, Kyle Allen. Because look, if Kyle Allen is getting meaningful reps, that means Josh Allen is injured. And if Josh Allen is injured, we are in big trouble. But through 2 games of preseason football, Kyle Allen has looked fantastic. Here, I'm going to pull up his stats here. 24 of 28 for 236 yards and a touchdown. That's through about 3 quarters of preseason football. And today, he was 10 of 12, and his 2 misses were on Mecole Hardman drops. So I think it's safe to say that Kyle Allen has solidified that QB2 role. And honestly, that is perfectly fine with me. If Josh Allen goes down for an extended period of time, like throughout the end of the season, the season's over regardless. So that doesn't matter. What I'm more concerned about is if Josh Allen goes down for, let's say, a month, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I think that Kyle Allen is a guy that can lead the team with the roster that they have to 2 to 3 wins and keep the ship afloat over that span until the other Allen is ready to suit up and play football again. So I am perfectly fine with Kyle Allen as a QB2. I think he has earned that role, and I think that he will be a great fit at QB2. And him and Josh Allen get along great. So a happy Josh is a happy me. So let me know what you guys think. Who has impressed you most at preseason from today's preseason game? Was it either one of the receivers, Sherfield or Maclin? Was it Tyler Bass, Demar Hamlin, Kyle Allen, or was it somebody else that I haven't even mentioned? Let me know down in the comments who else needed a shout out after today's game. But those are the 5 guys that I have for today. The Bills have a short week this week as they play the Steelers on Thursday. So quick turnaround time. We'll see who plays in Thursday's game. It's back at home in the new Highmark Field. We will see how the field holds up after a second game of preseason action. But we'll have everything covered, everything for you for that Steelers game coming up on Thursday. So if you like what you saw, make sure to hit subscribe, and we will keep you up to date on everything Bills related. Thank you for watching, and as always, go Bills.